We gotta be on the same page. And so when he translates the message, notice Eve in Genesis chapter number 3, verse 3, she adds to what God says. She's talking to the serpent, which furthermore says to all of us, be weary when the one you're connected to is talking to the devil. She's talking to the serpent, and she says, God says we shall not eat, neither shall we touch it. Whether you know it or not, it sounds good, but that's not the original message that God gave. God said you shall not eat. But notice Eve adds to what God said. She said, you shall not eat, neither shall you touch it. Whether you know it or not, what she was doing seemed to be right. Tell somebody it seemed to be right. But whether you know it or not, I've come to find out there's a way that seemeth to be right, but the end thereof is destruction. God, every now and again, I need you to connect me to somebody. And when you connect me to somebody, I don't just want to get connected, but God, I want to stay connected. Do you not know that that's why marriages don't last? Do you not know that that's why churches don't last? Do you not know that's the reason children fall out with their parents? Because we always know how to get connected, but God, I don't just want to get connected. Every now and again, I need to know how to stay connected. I know I'm not the only one in this place who can stand on your feet and testify. You've had some bumps in life. You've had some bruises in life. You've had some relationships in life that did not work out. And the reason they did not work out because you did not communicate effectively. Every now and again, God, I need you to help me communicate it, because I don't want to just get connected, but I want to stay connected. Tell somebody, I want to stay connected. I want to stay connected to my children. I want to stay connected to my pastor. I want to stay connected to my friends. And can I tell somebody, even if I don't stay connected to my children, my pastor, or my friends, most of all, God, I want to be connected to you. One thing that I desire for the Lord is that when I see after that makes well in the house, that even when I can't get connected to nobody else, my first connection ought to be my connection to God. How many times have we hurt ourselves in life giving people a higher priority than we give God? Yeah, and so therefore, as a consequence, God has to cut the ties. And we always talk about the devil messing with my relationship. The devil ain't messing with your relationship. Don't you know God said that I'm a jealous God? I will have no other God before you. Some relationships ended not because of the devil. You thought it was the devil, but it was really God saying, I got to cut this off right now, because you ain't about to put nobody in my place. Text says in verse number 1, the serpent talks to Eve. Text says in verse number 2, Eve talks back to the serpent. Whether you know it or not, the thing I love about God is that God is always speaking. The still small voice that you hear when you wake up in the morning, God is speaking to you. Anything that you hear that is good, that's God speaking. Now, it's one thing for God to be always speaking, God. I don't mind you always speaking. I like the fact that God is always speaking. But can I tell somebody, God is not the only one who's always speaking. The devil is always speaking also. And so therefore, as a consequence, we got to have enough sense. We got to have enough discernment to be able to discern who is God and who is the devil. And so watch this. The serpent is speaking to Eve. Eve talks back to the devil. And one of our greatest defenses we need to understand to a conversation with the enemy is silence. What would have happened if Eve never talked back to the devil, but she just kept her mouth closed? And whether you know it or not, I'm not just picking on women. I'm talking about all Christians. I don't care if you're male, if you're female. I don't care about your ethnic background, your economical background, your race, your gender, your creed, or your color. Every now and again, God is speaking to all of us. If you can just learn how to keep your mouth shut. That's the problem that many of us have right now. We don't know how to keep our mouth shut. We don't know how to be like Jesus. We claim that we're Christians. We claim that we're disciples, but Jesus knew how to keep his mouth shut. Matter of fact, the old folk put it like this: when Jesus was hanging on the cross and they mocked Jesus and they beat Jesus, instead of Jesus retaliating, instead of Jesus saying something back, the old folk said that he never said a mumbling word. Every now and again, if I could just learn how to keep my mouth shut. One of our greatest defenses to a a conversation with the enemy is silence. Because if I keep talking back to the enemy, notice the text already told us in verse 1, the devil was more cunning than any beast of the field. Do you not know the enemy is not dumb? Do you not know that the enemy is absolutely smart? But I thank God that even though there's a smart devil, he is never smarter than God. I thank God that regardless of the obstacles the devil puts in my way, I don't care how great the obstacle, the Bible declares that greater is he that's in me than he that is in the world. God, you mean to tell me they speaking at me all crazy, they speaking all manner of evil against me falsely for your name's sake, and you mean to tell me you don't want me to say something back? God, that ain't in my nature. How in the world you expect me to shut my mouth when I feel like cussing somebody out? How in the world you expect me to shut my mouth when I feel like backhanding somebody out? Act like y'all ain't never been there before. There's some folk on your job, you feel like telling them all. There's some folk inside of your home, you feel like telling them all. But every now and again, I gotta learn how to keep my mouth shut, because the more and the more I talk, the devil will talk you out of what you know to be true about Jesus Christ, like he taught Eve out of what she knows to be true about Jesus Christ. Every now and again, I gotta keep my mouth shut. Because the greatest defense to a conversation with the enemy is silence. Because the more and more I talk to my enemy, because he's smart. You ever been in a conversation with somebody and they didn't like what you were saying, even though you told them the truth, and the more and more you told them the truth, you saw a demon rise up inside of them, and you keep being the demon trying to prove your point. Now it's this way, now it ain't that way, now it's this way, now it ain't that way, it's that way, it's this way, it's this way, it's that way. You keep trying to prove your point, and the more and more you talk, the more and more you make the enemy madder and madder and madder, and the confrontation escalates to a place that it should have never gone in the first place. Every now and again, there's some situations in our life that maybe would have turned out different if we could just learn how to keep our mouth shut. Because if I don't keep my mouth shut, he'll talk me out of what I know to be true about God. I know God's a healer, but the more and more I talk to the devil, he says God can't heal you. Yeah, I know God's a provider, but the more and more I talk to the devil, he says Jesus won't provide for you. Look at your situation. Look at your bills. You got more bills than you have money. The more and more I talk to the devil, he says God won't give you any peace. How you going to tell me God won't give me any peace when God is Jehovah Shalom? He is my peace. The more and more you talk to the devil, he will talk you out of what you know to be true about the God that you serve. Anybody in here can testify. You know that you know that you know that God is a healer, and because you know God's a healer, ain't nobody gonna talk you out of God being a healer. The Bible declares he was wounded for our transgressions, he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon his shoulders, and by his stripes I'm healed in the name of Jesus. Text says in verse number 6, says Eve gave the fruit to Adam. I got a problem with the text, because the Bible did not say that she nagged Adam to eat. She didn't say anything to Adam. She just presented Adam with the opportunity. And whether you know it or not, when she presented Adam with the opportunity, Adam yielded to sin. I got a problem with the text, because remember now, she didn't nag Adam. She didn't force the fruit in his mouth. She didn't talk to Adam. The Bible just says she gave it to him. Which furthermore says to all of us, when you talk about kingdom connections, God, I need to be connected to somebody who's going to help me establish boundaries, because when you help me establish boundaries, it'll keep me away from certain opportunities that I don't need to be around in the first place. So many times when we come to church, church folk make me absolutely sick. They get on my nerves because we frown our nose down on other people who mess up, and we say, I'd never do something like that. I don't see how they fail like that. I don't see what their problem is, not even realizing that the reason we have yet to mess up, the reason we have yet to fall, maybe you just haven't had the opportunity. Every now and again, God, I need you to connect me to somebody who's going to keep me away from certain opportunities.